Broads Media.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to Sports Talk with Broads. An extremely disappointing finish to the series against Miami. They did win 2 out of 3, but it wasn't really ever about them taking the series. That should have been a known. If they did it, then we had a bigger problem. It would have been lovely to see a sweep, considering Saturday through 8 innings, you thought this team was set up for a cakewalk. Zach Wheeler, Friday night, 7 innings pitched, 13 Ks, nobody walked. A really strong bounce back for him. You put together 18 hits. Trey had 4, Rojas had 3, Stott had 3, had 3 RBI, had a couple of web gems defensively. So you were just rolling until the 9th. And when that 9th inning went from 11-4 to 11-10, and I had to watch Jose Alvarado get up in the pen to start warming up, forget about actually having to get into the game. Forget about even having to be used in the game when you were up 11-4 to a garbage bad, really bad Miami Marlins team. Once I saw him warm up, my blood started to boil. But that shit can't happen. And I've probably been one of only maybe 5 people in this town that was willing to give Romano a chance after the first few outings because I didn't see his velocity where it needed to be. And then eventually when I did, he looked like a completely different pitcher and someone who was reliable. So I was right to a degree. But then Saturday happened and I'm out. That's something that gets someone DFA'd. That's something that gets someone to lose their job. That's disgusting. You piss me off. You're not facing Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Tommy Edman. The list goes on and on. The Marlins are going to lose over 90 games this season. They stink. They're hot garbage. Johan Rojas looks like the best center fielder to ever exist offensively when you see this team. That's just who they are. They're a bunch of nobodies. Offensively, defensively, pitching-wise, except for Sandy, although Sandy, coming off of that Tommy John injury, sure looked like somebody who was a shell of himself as he was throwing balls to the backstop on Friday. Alcantara did not look like the pure Sandy that we know. But they stink. And it just shines light on the truth, which is they don't have a competent bullpen. They have a very thin bullpen. And this is going to snowball into Queens, which is then going to snowball into Wrigley Field. And this is a big week for me. I've been very on the record saying that these 6 games that we are about to witness has the opportunity to swing me a little bit into positive momentum. Now, what I need to see it's not 4-2. It's 5-1 or 6-0. 4-2, then they are who I kind of think they are. 5-1, I'd say, well, that's impressive. 6-0, I'd say that's really impressive. Knowing that they have their struggles with the pen, knowing Jose Alvarado has to be used every single day, and he's the only one that can do anything. And that's not going to last forever, by the way, because the more and more you put wear and tear on that arm, the more damage that's going to be done, and eventually you can't sustain this. It's just the truth. So the Joe Rosses, the Carlos Hernandezes, the Orion Kirkerings, who for some reason he's been talked about as such a reliable bullpen arm. I've never seen that. I do not buy that. Maybe one day he can keep growing, but he's nowhere even close to what people say that he is. I don't get it. He's getting shelled in a big spot. The defense boned Luzardo in that 7th inning. He was cruising, and he only finished with 88, so you can make the argument that Rob Thompson fucked up that decision to begin with to start going to his pen, because you need to save as many innings as humanly possible, and if the defense is screwing you up, it's not really Luzardo's fault. But that's the issue that happens, is now you're forcing him to throw more pitches, and when he throws more pitches, his pitch count rises. If he's sitting at 80 instead of 88, if he's sitting at 78 instead of 88, if he's sitting at 82 instead of 88, things are just looked at differently. And again, I can make the argument that even at 88, what are we doing here, Rob? You know there's not a lot of confidence in this group, but I think that's part of the reason why he does it. I think he makes that decision because he wants to tell Orion Kerkering, hey, I got faith in you. But you know what Orion Kerkering did back? Fuck you. Fuck you. That's what he did back. I suck. I think he tried to get cute as well, Rob Thompson that is, on Saturday. Taijuan Walker getting yanked after 4, the shoulder stiffness thing. While I acknowledge that the Phillies were putting together a lot of runs, and I'm sure those innings felt like they were going on forever, and Taijuan Walker is sitting back in the dugout waiting for his time to take the bump again, but I think they just did that so precautionary that they thought they'd be good. And they did win the game, so they were technically good, but they didn't realize how much that was going to diminish this pen. And if you allow Taijuan to go 5, if you allow Taijuan to go 6, if you allow Taijuan to get a couple more innings, then you don't have to have the same amount of bullpen arms used in that game. And it could push everything completely different to today, which pushes things back to Queens, which is a big series against the Mets. With my guy Knowles on the bump, sometimes is a little shaky, sometimes. Not often, but sometimes. You got lucky that you even had a chance in extra innings to win this game on Sunday afternoon on Easter. Because when Cal Stevenson puts one to the right side, a couple bobbles, throw over to first, you tie the game up. I mean, this Marlins team's a disaster. So a sweep, it wouldn't have changed really about how I feel about this team. Nothing will until we get to October, or unless they do something really magnificent. I take that back, because I did allude to me maybe feeling a little bit more optimism if they have a nice week, but I guess feeling more optimism is a lot different than truly believing in this team. Nothing's going to really make me truly believe until I actually see the execution in the postseason, which I can't fast forward to that, so I can just hold on to hopefully over time they get marginal victories throughout 6 games, throughout 10 games, throughout a nice sample size against good opponents that I can hold some faith into. I mean, that's sort of what I need to try and do. So then by the time October rolls around, then I'm in a better headspace. But I don't think that's going to happen until they fix these problems. We can say best starting staff in all of baseball all we want, and there's truth to really loving what Sanchez can do with that filthy changeup, what Luzardo can do with his repertoire, adding pitches. He's sick. He's sick. And we know what Wheels is, and that's all great and dandy. But if you don't have someone you can go to in the 7th, in the 8th, in the 9th, Joe Ross, Carlos Hernandez, these guys, their ERAs are through the roof, through the damn roof. And as much as I personally have been sort of taking a step back on the whole Jeff Hoffman debate, only because I know he did not pass physicals in this offseason, and he did not have a good postseason. He did not have a good postseason. And neither did Matt Strahm. So I don't know if that's because there was an injury, which related to the noise about his not passing physicals in the offseason, or if the lights were just too bright for him and some guys don't have the stones to make it work. I don't know what it is. That's my feel on it, and I'm not shy when it comes to that opinion. But the truth is, Romano's ERA is like fucking 15 times higher than Jeff Hoffman's. And that's not even a joke. It's about 15 times higher than Jeff Hoffman's. No matter what went down this offseason, or how I feel about the decision, or whatever it is. Yo, Dave. 15 times. It's not like Jeff Hoffman has a 1.68 ERA and Romano has a 2.78 or a 3.18 or hell, a 3.96. It's gotten to the point where if most people have the outing that he had in the ninth, with the velocity where it was, you don't have a job anymore. If his name wasn't Jordan Romano, and if it wasn't known that he was supposed to be a back-end depth, serious 8th inning, 9th inning closer type role to fill the void for what was here last season, and he was just a guy with a random name, you'll never hear that guy's name ever again. Now, I want to play for you this piece of audio from WIP on Saturday afternoon. I got a phone call from Casimir. He's in the Poconos. He's a phenomenal caller, brings a lot of passion. Truth be told, Saturday after that, I'm a little more pissed off with this pen today than I was Saturday because it was so outrageous and so, oh my God, and so what the hell. But it was like, that is so rare to see that type of ninth inning that I almost poo-pooed it and waved it off. And I tried my very best to focus on, look at what Stott's doing out of the leadoff spot. Look at the 18 hits. And the way I sold it was, I know the bullpen is shaky. I know there are arms in that bullpen I didn't believe in, but something I need to get going is this lineup, an identity shift. We need Kyle Schwarber to bat cleanup behind Bryce because Bryce needs to see more pitches, so we need someone to slide into leadoff. Well, I'm watching Bryson Stott really find something here, and he's been sort of a pest on the bases and bunting to the third base side and taking off from first to second, getting in scoring position. I'm loving that. I'm going to focus on that because I knew the bullpen was a disgrace. This was sort of me talking through how I felt Saturday night. But then I saw Kirk Gering and I watched them lose Sunday. And now it's pissing me off. But I'm just giving you that because of the way that maybe I sound during this phone call. Here's the audio from WIP on final out right after that game ended. Let's go to Casimir in the Poconos. What's up, Casimir?
Bros, I'm sorry, man.
That's okay. That's okay.
I know you don't want me to be in a positive. I'm sorry. I'm not in a positive mood right now.
That's okay. However you feel, you feel. That's why we're here.
I can't be positive right now, man. I'm sorry. Okay, I guess I'll look at the positive lining from the offense. They showed up today. The last 2 or 3 nights, they came alive. They scored some runs. They were in scoring position. That's what we've been begging for. For the first month of the season, we've been begging for it, and they're finally doing it great. But the problem is, this bullpen, bro, this bullpen is just as bad. It's reminding me of the bullpens we had from 19, 20, and 21.
Oof.
And you remember those bullpens?
No, sadly.
I feel like I'm watching. My God. I'm watching Jordan Romano. I feel like I'm watching Brandon Workman or Heath Hembry out there.
Oof.
Goodness gracious, I can't believe what I'm seeing right now. We have freaking Carlos Hernandez out there in a freaking 9-1 game, and the dude's giving up 3 runs in an inning. And you have a 9-1 lead, and you can't. And our bullpen gives up 9 runs. 9 runs between 2 relievers. I think it's a joke. I can't even believe it right now.
I'm going to say that. Listen, Casimir, I'm always emotional, and I'm always willing to ride the highs and lows. But I'm even going to tell you this, and it's big when I'm going down this route. You got to breathe, my friend. You got to breathe.
I just don't think I can, man. Because
I hope you can.
I can. I feel like I can't when I feel like I'm watching a 2020 bullpen all over again.
But it's not, though. That's the thing is, while I agree it may feel like that with Romano,
as bad as it is, everybody was Romano. Everyone was Romano that year.
The cast of characters we have down
Joe
there.
Ross, I know.
It's
Joe
like, my
Ross.
God.
I know.
I mean, just it's one after the other of these. I mean, they're not. I mean, bros, it's not like they're not. These aren't even competent arms. They're below average. They're bad.
I know. I know.
You don't even trust these guys in a 9-run game when you're up 9 runs. You're up 9-1. We're up 11-4 in the ninth inning, and end up using Jose Alvarado. Like, do we see how bad this badness looks going forward? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I see maybe that's why Hoffman and Hoffman and Estevez were so bad in the postseason last year, because like you had to use these guys so much.
Well, that happened with Craig Kimbrough. No one likes to hear that. And Casimir, I appreciate it. We got to make sure we hit our breaks on time here. But I think that's what happened with I just said his name. Craig Kimbrough. I think you overworked him throughout the year, where because he did find the groove. There were injuries during the pen, and he held the fort down for a little bit, and then by the end, my guy was just toast, and that's kind of what we saw. But I mean, he's not wrong. As much as I tried to downplay it, I mean, Joe Ross has a 7.5 ERA. Carlos Hernandez has a 9 ERA. Romano has a 15 ERA. And those were 3 back-to-back-to-back guys that you went to today. So, Casimir with some passion, though. Whew.
I mean, it's unbelievable. That high voice, it just kept getting higher and higher. He couldn't control himself. I thought it was hysterical. What do you mean? What do you mean? He just couldn't stop. It just kept getting higher, higher. I didn't know what point it would stop getting higher. I loved it. I thought it was funny. So, for whatever that's worth, just sharing that with you people. Just like I share all of my great experiences with the fine people, just like my lawn. Green Lawn Fertilizing is legitimately the best in the Philadelphia area. Experts in New Jersey and Pennsylvania and Delaware, and extremely knowledgeable. They've created their own custom blend that will have your lawn recovering. They just went through another treatment for my lawn. They were just here about a day or so ago, and we talked, we discussed, we looked at our lawn, we're seeing what we need to continue to do to have it improve, and it's just fantastic. And the first round is so important to lay the groundwork for the rest of the season that Green Lawn Fertilizing is actually offering you 2 free treatments and 10% off for you to get started. So make sure you check out the link in the description down below, which will take you right to their website through my link. It'll tell them that Brode sent you. I have neighbors in my lawn coming up to me saying, Brodes, you got to give me the info. Brodes, you got to show me what you're doing, because I'm seeing how much your lawn is improving, and I need to make sure I get that done for me and my family. Swear to God, true story. And I told them, come on, man. Green Lawn Fertilizing, baby. There's only one place to go. Check out the link down below in the description. All right, let me see if I have anything else for you on my little bullet points before we start taking calls. I think I essentially touched on everything that I wanted to. I don't know exactly what was going on with the Taiwan stuff. I know that there are some fans pointing out that maybe he just wasn't in the zone, and with Ranger Suarez coming back soon, you want to have Taiwan in a good headspace for his next start, which is going to be in Chicago, considering you're not really asking him to do much more, with Rangers' availability being sooner rather than later. And I don't know, because with this bullpen so nasty right now, and I'm saying that in a bad way, not a good way. Some guys like Luzardo, nasty. Some guys like Wheeler, nasty. And then you got the, ew, I want to throw up, that's nasty. Like, bad, ugh, gross. That's our bullpen right now. Wouldn't Ranger Suarez help that out more than Taijuan Walker? Yes, for the back end. Flip side is, Ranger starts, Taijuan can eat up middle innings. And if Taijuan can eat up middle innings, a 5th, a 6th, and then boom, you can get to a 7th, 8th, 9th guy, which is still very up in the air right now. But maybe that's better than the Joe Rosses, the Carlos Hernandezes. But then you probably have to ask them to do 7th inning stuff to get you to Matt Strahm or Jose Alvarado in the ninth. So you still need them anyway, but you don't need to ask two of them to be involved in the middle of a game in a fifth inning and a sixth inning. So Taijuan, in theory, could be better in that role. Or if they do the backpack stuff until Andrew Painter is here, then you have a situation where Ranger can go 3, maybe Taijuan can go 3. That gets you through 6. But then that issue comes up again, which is what the hell are you going to do with 7, 8, 9? And as much as we want to talk about, well, Dave Dombrowski needs to be super aggressive with the trade deadline and getting some bullpen help when he can. One, that's so damn far away. We have so many games before we get to that point that you are setting back your franchise if you wait that long. And 2, this can't just be Estevez. This can't just be Tanner Banks, which was an arm that he looked at to help improve this team not too long ago. It would have to be go get someone who is out of this world amazing. Go get someone who is serious, who is a real, legit arm. And not only that, you probably need 2. Like, you can live with getting an Estevez if you got an Estevez and a Mason Miller, right? Because Mason Miller, I'm just using that as an example, but, you know, like, Estevez can't be it and Tanner Banks is another arm, or those 2 is what you get. You can live with an Estevez, just a professional bullpen arm, but that's just someone who can maybe get you through a 7th. That's how bad you are right now, is you need to look for that role as well. So you have so much to acquire to try and help out this pen if you want to win a World Series. You're not winning a World Series with Joe Ross, Orion Kirkering, and Carlos Hernandez, Santana, Cesar Hernandez, whatever the hell it is. It's not going to fly. It's a joke. Anyway, we'll go to the phones. Let's take some calls.
Happy Easter, broads. Here, we'll have this in your Easter basket. The Phillies are not good. 2-3 against a horrendous Marlins team is not good. We would blow out we would blow them out the first 2 games, and I still didn't feel confident because it's the Miami Marlins. This team needs a legitimate mental check, and they need to figure it out. But hope you have a good holiday, brother.
Well, thank you for the call. That's right. Happy Easter, everybody. I probably should have said that prior to being 20 minutes into the show. So thank you so much for taking the time out on your holiday. Yeah, I had a good holiday. Went to my wife's family's. We had some phenomenal ham. We had some nice potatoes. We had some pineapple bake, some good desserts, nice cup of coffee. We watched the Phillies game, the whole shebang. And we got some WrestleMania this weekend. So it was lovely. And I'm getting this done before night 2 of WrestleMania. So I can't wait to see what happens then. I got to be honest with you, though, in regards to the wins, the losses, they did win the series, right? And truth be told, in regards to how I was feeling throughout the process of the weekend, Saturday through 8 innings, again, it was really in a minuscule box. I look at it when you face the Nats, you face the Rockies, you face a team like this. I mean, the Phillies can only do what they can do. So if they go out there and put together 18 hits, if Stott's getting 3 hits, 3 RBI, some awesome defensive plays, if Rojas is getting 3 hits, if Trey's getting 4, I'm not telling you because they do that, now they're going to go win the World Series, but it's a long season, and you got to know how to sort of process the long term with the short term. And when you face these teams, you have Zach Wheeler throwing a gem. You score 7 runs in game 1. You win 7-2. You put together 18 hits, 11 runs on day 2 of this series. And, you know, it's like they're doing what they were supposed to do. I'm not going to crush them for that. So for a good portion of this weekend, I felt rather good. And then they start out pretty decent in game 3, and Luzardo starts to throw really well. I guess one thing I'm starting to recognize, though, is this offense is starting to actually create some splash early, but then it starts to fizzle. Whereas before they couldn't get a hit off of a starter, and then they waited until they got to a bullpen arm, and then they started to rip the cover off the ball once they got to the pen. Now I feel they're getting 1, 2, 3 runs in the first or 2 innings, and then eventually by the 6th you look at the scoreboard and you realize you haven't tacked on anything. You haven't put them away. You're up 6-0. The offense goes quiet forever until Kyle pops in a solo shot in the 7th inning or so. So you go 5 innings without creating any more noise. I think that's the trend as of late. But the truth is, this team is going to go through all sorts of trends. It's going to be the piss poor offense trend. It's going to be the really garbage bullpen sort of situation. And then it's probably going to be the bad Aaron Nola stuff mixed with the Taiwan Ranger stuff that eventually is going to filter in the mix of discussion. I can see multiple different angles that is going to cause us frustration. Whenever the bullpen does have a 3 or 4 game stretch when it seems like they pulled their head out of their ass, that's when the offense is going to be so bad that, they can't score enough to win. And then the bullpen's actually holding them into the game where they're down 3-2 for a good 6 or 7 innings because your bullpen is doing all right after Ranger goes 3, let's say, because they're really slowing him in and they're babying him in because they don't want to overpower him or anything, or just be abusive to the body after having time off. So your bullpen's hanging in there, keeping it a 1-run game, and that's the day everyone goes 0 for 4, 0 for 4, 0 for 4. Then the next day the offense is going to put together 12 runs, but their bullpen's going to allow 14. They've allowed 14 runs in the last 2 games. You can't make this stuff up. But anyway, to summarize, when it came to this Marlins series, for a good portion of it, it actually felt decent, just for what it was worth, beating a bad opponent, but they were beating a bad opponent. That's why it's such a disappointing finish, because they were in line for the sweep, which is their job against these teams, and then it just unraveled so damn quickly. Okay, let's go to Sean.
Just an absolute embarrassment, Hunter. You get beat at home by that shit. You score 11 runs the game before and have to hold on to beat that assortment of trash. I mean, if I'm Jesus Luzardo, I'm pissed off today. That should have been an easy win. Put it in the W column. Should have had no problem. But once again, your lineup can't hit and your bullpen can't do their job. Overmanaging by Rob Thompson, in my opinion, lifting Luzardo when I didn't think he needed to be lifted, and you let a 5'7" Smurf, who's not bigger than a blade of grass, hang 5 RBIs on your ass. I mean, nothing more needs to be said. I've seen enough with this team. I've seen enough with this lineup. The starting pitching has to pitch a shutout pretty much every night for this team to win games. Instead of bringing up Cal Stevenson, can we bring up Justin Crawford? Can we bring up Gabriel Rincones? Can we bring up Otto Kemp? Can we bring up somebody that might be a threat with a baseball bat in their hand? Because the Max Keplers, the Alec Baby Bohm who pouts after every at-bat, the Johan Rojas's, the Rafael Marchands, they just don't do it for me.
Hey, I mean, very perfectly said. You know what's funny? I don't know if I'm a very day-by-day guy when it comes to the heavy reaction and whatnot, and I feel very similar to you, Sean. I don't believe that it's time for Crawford. I don't think that's right for him. I think it's very unfair for him. Maybe the Kemp thing, whatever. Just the expectations you'd be throwing on Justin Crawford, and God forbid he starts looking like Johan Rojas, and then it's what are we doing here? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just a lot to ask of him to step in with World Series aspirations. It should just be more frustration towards Dave than anything else, and less on just the stress and focus on Crawford. I mean, he's still so young. It's not even funny. But anyway, everything you said for the most part, I co-signed. But this Marlins series doesn't have me as frustrated as other games have. And I'm trying to figure out why. Maybe it's because some are not as far along in the journey as I am on who they are. I wonder if that's part of it. Like, I've been questioning this team for a long time now, right? And I mean, a long time, but, the offseason and everything they didn't do. And since the year began that, this year, I didn't learn anything this series. Like, I almost wonder if the people who are showing the anger and the angst and the real pissed off feeling, is this them sort of having it settle that they are who I've been saying they are? And because I know they are what I've been saying they are, I'm less angry about it today. Like, I'll be mad about it against the Mets in Citi Field. That'll open up a whole new can of worms because I hate the Mets so much. Maybe it has to do with the Marlins. I don't know. But that fire and that intensity and that, trust me, I feel it. I'll always feel it. But this Marlins series didn't particularly bring it out as much as I feel it has brought out other fans when listening to WIP on my way home today. I caught some stuff from Rob Ellis as he was doing Final Out, some of the phone calls, some of the tweets that I've gotten. But I still have that same feeling inside when it comes to this team, but this series didn't bring it out for me. And I think it has something to do with the bullpen sucking is no surprise to me. So I'm just expecting this chaos, but that never really makes me not feel it, because when I'm witnessing it go down, that's enough to trigger something. So I don't know. I'm just talking out loud, trying to figure out the answer now for you. I just don't think I'm going to. But I want to shut up now because I want to go watch WrestleMania as it starts in about 20 minutes. So thank you guys all so much. I love you. I really do. We'll be reacting, obviously, to a lot of these games this week. It is going to be a doozy of a week with you. Big games. 5-1, 6-0. That would bring optimism to me. Is that going to happen? Talk to you then.